Could Yujiro Hanma be a bodybuilder? Let's find out. Yujiro Hanma is one of the most badass characters in all of anime and manga history, and he's obviously absolutely ripped and has muscles for days. But could he be a bodybuilder? Well, that's what we're going to determine in this video. And if you've been watching my content for any length of time, you already know the answer to this, but I want to revisit some of these videos in a little bit more depth so you can see exactly why they could or could not be a bodybuilder, and we'll go over their rating as well in these longer format videos. So if you like bodybuilding, anime, manga, fitness in general, then you'll love this series of videos. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video in this series. So let's jump into it. Now, as you can see in the bottom here, we have a score. And this is how all bodybuilders are critiqued. You have muscle mass, symmetry, conditioning, and proportions. Now, obviously this is an oversimplification, and in real life bodybuilding, the judging gets a little more nuanced, but I've simplified it for the purposes of our character ratings. And you can see, along with some of my favorite pictures of Yuujirou on here, we also have Big Ramy and we have Chris Bumstead, your current Mr. Olympias. So first off, let's just take a look at his physique in general. You can see Yuujirou is absolutely massive. He's got a great V taper, which is the taper down here from the shoulders to the waist. It's that shoulder to waist ratio. So how wide are the shoulders, how narrow is the waist? He probably has one of the best V tapers in anime history. Now on top of this, he has really big and nice muscle bellies. Now what that means is they're just really full. You can see his delts, his chest, they're all really full. None of them really look that flat. If you come to the real life bodybuilders here too, you can also see that in like Big Ramy, even in Chris. Like, look at those lats right there. Everything is just full about them. So overall, Yuujirou looks amazing, and we're gonna do our best to score his physique from a bodybuilding perspective. Now, having said that, we don't have him in the 8 compulsory poses and 4 quarter turns like actual bodybuilders get into, so this is simply gonna be my best judgment as a bodybuilding fan. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below on how you would actually score his physique from a bodybuilding perspective. All right, so here we go, muscle mass. Overall, like I said, he's got really full muscle bellies. He looks really good from both the front and the back. And side note, we're going to be just looking at the upper body for Yuujirou. Some characters where we have a lot of great shots of their legs, we will also look at those. With other characters, we may also look at their legs, but I just want to take a look at Yujirou's upper body for this video. So with Yuujirou, you can see muscle mass wise, he stands up to even Big Ramy, who is one of the biggest bodybuilders to ever do it. So obviously, if we go down here, we're definitely going to give him a 10 out of 10 on muscle mass. Now this would be in the open bodybuilding division, although I do think his physique looks great, and in some shots, I think he would do really well in the classic physique division as well. So this is going to be kind of a classic / open division rating for him. Next up we have symmetry. Basically, does he match on both sides? And it looks like he does perfectly. Most animated characters are going to, that's just the way they're drawn. In real life, there's always some asymmetry in bodybuilding. The pictures of Big Ramy and Chris Bumstead that I have don't show a lot of asymmetry, which makes sense because they're Mr. Olympia. If we were to be nitpicky, we could zoom in on Chris's hamstrings. We can see that it's a little bit asymmetrical right there in his hamstrings. Now, I believe that's because of a former injury, so that makes sense there. I would need better shots of both of these guys to really point out any other asymmetry that I see. But like I said, both of these guys are your reigning Mr. Olympias, and so finding any kind of issues with their physique is going to be difficult. But just like with anyone else, they don't have the perfect physique. There are definitely weak points in everybody's physique, even Mr. Olympia, that they can always work on and strive for. It's just harder to find it with these guys. Okay, so given that for symmetry, we're going to say Yuujirou also gets a 10 out of 10. Now on to conditioning. So conditioning essentially means how lean are they? How little body fat do they have? Can you see the muscular striations, vascularity, things like that? So if you look, for instance, in Chris's, let's go Chris's legs right here. You can see separation in all of the quadricep muscles. You can see even a little bit of feathering right there. If you go up here to Big Ramy, you can see some feathering right there in the back, actually all throughout the back, and especially even in Chris's back right here. Side note, Chris's back used to be one of his weaker points, and he's done a tremendous job in the past few years of making it more of a strong point for him. Okay, so if we look at Yuujirou, he definitely has a lot of feathering. You can see that right here in his chest specifically. You can see that all the muscles, especially in the arms, are totally separated. Here in the abs, everything is totally separated. They look great. You don't see a whole lot of vascularity in this shot, but I know there are other shots where it shows he has crazy vascularity. Even in these back shots, total separation of all the muscles. And side note, obviously Yuujirou has the demon back. I think it's really cool to look at that demon back right there and compare it to a bodybuilder back. There's actually a lot of similarities. I mean, if you look at the eyes of it, you kind of see eyes right here, right? So there's a lot of similarities between a demon back and a bodybuilding back. And in fact, I have a short video on that, and I plan on making a long one on that soon, so be on the lookout. So conditioning wise, this guy obviously doesn't have an ounce of body fat. He's super lean. He's very well conditioned. I'm gonna give him a 10 out of 10 as well on this. All right, Last but not least, proportions. This is the one where I deducted points in my short video, and that's simply because his arm ratio is just totally off. Now, I know this is getting a little bit messy right here. If you look at the size of his forearm compared to his upper arm, it just really doesn't compare. His forearms really overshadow his upper arms, and then his shoulders also actually overshadow his upper arms. Now, obviously, this is just the artist's take on physiques, and that's how all Baki characters are. They all have really big forearms and really big calves, and I think this is because they're drawn with both a bodybuilding and a fighting physique in mind. So having said this, I would deduct a few points from his physique, so it's not absolutely perfect, but it's still really, really good. So side note, I actually really love this back shot right here, and what I love about Baki characters is that the mangaka do a lot of really great work on muscular anatomy. So take a look right here at the triceps, for instance, tri being 3 heads. This is a little bit of an anatomy lesson for you. You can see you have the lateral head here, the medial head there, and the long head here. How many other manga, anime, or cartoons have this kind of muscular definition? This is crazy, so a lot of props to the mangaka here. Okay, so back on track with the proportions. He's got great proportions overall, but I do have to subtract because of the arms, and I know the calves are actually the exact same way. They actually overshadow his quads. In my short video, I actually gave him a 7. Looking back on it now, because it's been over a year since I've done that, I think that might be a bit harsh. I might give him an 8. So I'm gonna go 7.5, kind of meet in the middle. So that's gonna bring his grand total out of a possible 40 to a 37.5 out of 40. That is an amazing physique. That is a Mr. Olympia caliber physique. So to answer our original question of could Yujiro Hanma be a bodybuilder, the answer is absolutely 100% yes. And not only could he be a bodybuilder, he would be a really damn good bodybuilder. He could definitely compete on a professional level and at the Mr. Olympia competition. How would you rate Yujiro Hanma's physique? And who would you like to see in the next video? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe as it really helps out the channel and so you don't miss the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.